What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dobrunsky here, and today's video is going to be a quick talking head piece going over the PTR for patch 2.5. There is a lot to go over in this video. I feel like in some ways the introduction of Terror Zones, which we'll discuss what they are, is cool for meta shifting and then changing the race to 99, and I do think it kind of makes a couple niche builds a little bit more viable, and again I'll touch more on that later on in the video, but I definitely think that in some terms it's kind of like regurgitated content in which the devs went a little bit further with their changes. But with that being said, I think that the introduction of the Terror Zones is actually a really good foundation to build off of, and I think that there's a couple small tweaks that the devs could make. Again, this is PTR, now's the time to provide the feedback, but they could definitely improve the system a little bit. So again, let me know in the comment section below if you guys agree, disagree, think that the devs made a great change, they didn't go far enough, if you like my ideas, if you want to add more. Now is the time to provide feedback, so whether it's Reddit, Twitter, other content creators videos, the comment section of my video, just again, more feedback around changes in PTR in general is a good thing. And again, I apologize for being a little bit late in this video. I worked a 12-hour shift, kind of flew home, digested the patch notes, did a little bit of testing. This is only going to be an initial thoughts and impressions video. I do plan on covering kind of like tier lists, meta shifting build videos, the experience, etc. in later videos once I get an opportunity to actually do some more testing. So again, if you want to partake in some of that live stream testing, I do stream twice a week on Twitch. Got the link for my Twitch channel in the description below. Any follows on that platform would be very much appreciated. And that being said, guys, let's jump in. So what are Terror Zones? Well, they are essentially these randomized locations. So every hour a new location is selected. So whether it's like Talrash's Tombs, Travancore, the Forgotten Tower, etc., it shifts every hour and then it stays in that particular like time frame of an hour. That location will always stay terrorized, where the monsters have a higher level. Killing them grants you more experience. So this essentially sort of breaks up the monotony for the grind to level 99 and kind of adds new content. I want to use the quotation kind of because I think that, in my opinion, even though it totally shifts the race to 99, so you're not stuck doing Diablo, Neolithak, and Bale over and over and over again, in my opinion, other than the monsters providing more experience, it's unfortunately regurgitated content and it doesn't really get me too excited. I do think that it's a great structural foundation to improve the game. And again, I'll talk later on in the video about some suggestions I'd like to make, but overall it doesn't excite me too much. But I do think that breaking up that race to level 99 is definitely a good thing. One of the things that I do like though, and I was just kind of like theory crafting and thinking of things on my own before I made this video, is that some niche builds will get a chance to excel based on certain zones when they become terrorized. Now you might have to wait a while, but one example that I was thinking of is a fire sorceress. Say you're farming like the Stony Tomb and Endariel over and over again, and you want to like crush a bunch of monsters, and you're just tired of like the tiny little Stony Tomb area. When Talrash's Tombs become terrorized, that is a massive location with tons of monsters that either have no fire immunes or the fire immunities can be broken with infinity. I can't remember, I made a tier list video a while ago talking about some of the different areas that I would like to see sort of like become level 85 areas. And if Talrash's Tombs become terrorized, you can then run around with a fire sorceress and just blow up monsters. So I think that it provides, in addition to a different path to get to 99, it will allow some niche builds to transition to other areas and excel, because there are certain locations where there's no immunities, which would be preferable to some types of builds, like whether it's cold damage, lightning damage, or fire damage. But the issue with those builds was they'd be like level 78, so you couldn't get specific like rare TC87 items. You'd have to farm level 85 areas, but that is completely thrown out the window with the terrorized content. So that is something that I do really appreciate. And there is a ton of areas that can become terrorized. So just reading through like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, I'm not going to read them all off for you word for word, but like Bloodmoor, Den of Evil, jumping to the Black Marsh, Forgotten Tower, like imagine doing Countess runs, and as you're farming your way down the different tower levels, all the monster kills becomes a new level 85 area. I really like that. Arcane Sanctuary, this is a location that naturally spawns no lightning immune, so if you wanted to play like a Nova Sorceress and you don't have Infinity, this is a location when it becomes terrorized, you can actually magic find and, you know, farm items. So that's something that I really like, and pretty much covers most of the points that are things that I like. And I do want to say that I feel like, I touched on it earlier, it's a good structure for adding future content. So just a couple ideas right off the top of my head, just thinking about like ways you could actually make these locations more desirable to farm. The first one is increasing monster density. So I'm going to post edit a screenshot that my friend Barricade, he's a Twitch streamer if you guys want to check him out, he upped the monster density in a Travancore location that was terrorized. This is something that I would like to see. It just changes the feel of regurgitated content, or that criticism that I have. Just having more monster density, I think, would be cool. Just an incentive to go to those locations. It's something different. We're not doing the same thing over and over again. We already do a ton of that in D2, so it'd be really cool if things were a little bit more fresh with more monster density. The second suggestion that I have is, what about like switching the colors on the monsters in the terrorized locations? Like, I wouldn't think it'd be too hard. Sort of similar to how Diablo in normal is red, and then in hell difficulty he's black. Why not just throw like a black reflection on all the terrorized monsters? So higher monster density and they're black, so it's different. Like, it just something that, again, sort of like shakes it up and doesn't make it feel like it's regurgitated. And other ideas for, like, when I talked about building like a structure for future content, what if like some specific rare uniques, if they introduce some new unique items that only dropped in terrorized zones? Now again, I'm going off on a bit of tangent here. They do discuss in the bottom of this blog post how their focus is the mechanic and making sure it works properly, and just providing, you know, different leveling sources. It's not really focused on itemization or skill tweaking, and I can appreciate that, but it'd be really cool in the future to use this as a platform for, like, again, like, I don't know, a rune that only drops in terrorized zones for a new rune word, like a brand new rune or something, or terrorized only items that can drop, or some material that you can use for crafting terrorized amulets or terrorized weapons or something. Any sort of like mechanic to accompany this. Again, not like flipping D2 on its head, but just providing it with just doing something different is what I would really like. Just would really like to see, like, something new and different. Now, as far as my criticisms go, I don't really have a ton, but the major kind of standout one, I've already touched on it, is it just feels like it's regurgitated content. Nothing's changed, so there's no increased monster density. I don't like that. I would really like to see something like fresh incorporated into it. So whether, again, it was like specific terrorized items or something, anything that really kind of like changes the game, just a new mechanic or something, I would really like to see. Another like small concern I have is that I think in its current form, again, this is what I've seen on other content creators' videos and what I've seen posted on Reddit, that the experience is a little bit too much at the moment, so it kind of makes the race to level 99 a little bit too easy. Again, this is what I've read. I haven't tested it, I haven't crunched numbers, but I definitely think that the game needs to maintain that difficult to achieve milestone of reaching level 99, but providing a new alternative to get there is fantastic, but I don't think that they should make it easier. Now again, this is literally the first day, at the time of recording this video, like 5 hours into PTR, so clearly they want to gather feedback, get a consensus on what the community thinks. They can obviously dial back those numbers, but that's one thing that I've noticed so far that I am not necessarily a huge fan of. And again, the third kind of small critique I have is that the density. It would be very cool, and I know someone's going to sound off in the comments and say, don't turn D2R into PoE, and I don't advocate for that, but something like, again, density or a color change in the monsters, or just like that sound effect when you travel to the zone. It'd be really cool if that like took over and played as you're killing all the monsters. Like anything that kind of spices things up and changes like kind of like the experience, I think would be cool. So that's kind of like the three criticisms that I have. Again, nothing major, but it's not anything that I'm like super upset about, but it's not anything that I'm super excited for either. That's really the best way I kind of describe my overall initial thoughts. And finally, wrapping up the tail end of the blog post, I do want to shout out some of the bugs that have been fixed in this patch notes. There is a ton. I'm not going to read them word for word, but you definitely need to appreciate the continued like effort to clean up existing like issues with the game. So I definitely want to applaud the devs for that. Now there is 3 particular bugs that stand out to me. 2 of them are very important to me because I've experienced them a lot in patch 2.4. The third one is just kind of like this like meta thing that people are claiming that I just want to provide some clarification on, at least in my humble opinion. So the first bug fix here is fixed an issue where Iron Golem summoned through the charge of a skill, for example, granted by Metal Grid, would disappear when performing an inventory update. So if you make a new game, inventory update or whatever, your Iron Golem that you make from Metal Grid would die. Now, a lot of people are claiming this is going to be a massive meta shift, like Metal Grid is going to be worth a ton now. You can Metal Grid a Insight Rune Murder as a Barbarian and have a free source of meditation. I can promise you with 99.9999999% certainty that an Iron Golem that doesn't have the massive life buff from Golem Mastery, or Resist All or Resist Golem, whatever the Resist Summon passive skill is from the Necro, without the support from those two skills, I promise you, it will not survive. Even with a very high level Battle Lures and Battle Command and Show from a Barb, I'm almost positive it will not survive. Again, I will test this and make its own separate video. If I am wrong, I will admit that I'm wrong, but I definitely wanted to point that out. And the other two quality of life changes here. One is they fix an issue with Quick Cast, which would sometimes restore the previous skills with the wrong mouse button. I only play Quick Cast now. I can't even go back to the original skills, like playing PoE and D2R with Quick Cast and just other modern day RPGs like Last Epoch. Quick Cast is amazing. I literally cannot go back. The fact that they fixed this tiny bug, which happened to me a lot, was a little bit irritating, so I'm really glad that they addressed it. And the final standout one here for me is they fixed an issue with Fist of Heaven. So I played a ton of the Fist of Heaven's Paladin on the ladder. Great character, really is close, like competitive wise, to the Hammerden. Very fun to play, but it had this unintentional issue. If you had your if you had your Fist of Heavens on your left click, you tried to like target like a seal or something, you would strike down Fist of Heavens instead of activating the seal. So they fixed that. So overall, a lot of stuff that they addressed, and it really is good to see. But that kind of wraps up my overall talking head blabbering video, guys. Again, I do plan on releasing like tier lists of what I think will be the best terrorized areas, what builds will excel for the majority of areas, and I do plan on streaming a lot of the new zones and just kind of giving you my overall feedback. But please let me know in the comment section below if you guys, first off, if you enjoyed the video. Yeah, if you throw a like on it, that'd be awesome. Yeah, just let me know your overall thoughts. If you think that the patch was good, not enough, you don't care, if you agree with the changes, you'd like to see more, any feedback is welcome. And other than that, guys, yeah, that's all I have for you. I'll catch you on my next stream or live video. Peace out.